There's a 50% upside right now for Nvidia from this point on for the next 6 months. It's at 121. It's actually doing good today. It's up 3.5%. There's a chance that there's a good chance that Nvidia's heading right back to 170. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. There's a good chance that Nvidia's heading right back to 175 in the next 3 or 4 months. So it's a great play for a lot of people who may have pulled out because it was going down. I would double down on Nvidia right now because it's at 121. It's probably going to 175 over the next, probably by the end of the summer, early fall. I could clearly see it getting to 175. There's a lot of analysts that say that. Now, Palantir, on the other hand, it has a lot of issues right now. Palantir was a great play a year and a half ago, but right now, from where it's at today, you got two choices. You can hold for the long term. You're probably not going to see as much gains as you would Nvidia, but it's still a good play just because you don't always have to get the most possible money out of each play. You can have different plays in Nvidia. They don't have to all be killers, right? As long as they do better than inflation and you make money, you're okay. You can hold Palantir. You can choose to move Palantir profits into Nvidia, which is a smart idea, but there's still risk in that too. But I think that's a smart idea because, it's up to you. I'm not giving you financial advice. It's up to you. Because Nvidia does have a higher upside. AMD has a higher upside from today because of what we talked about with the infrastructure build out. Palantir, somebody put Palantir continues to sign contracts though. Yeah, you're right about that. And I'm going to talk to you why that's not necessarily a good thing. A lot of analysts are right now changing it to a hold. I believe it's still a hold. It's still a strong hold. I don't think you should, I wouldn't be buying Palantir right now. Palantir does have a strong tech. Remember, I'm not saying that Palantir is bad. It's probably going to go up, but it's not going to go up as much as Nvidia or AMD from this point on. They have strong revenue growth. It's a leader in decision intelligence, ranked top tier by a lot of rating agencies. But the problem is that the valuation of Palantir is very, very high. 220 times earnings, P&E, it's ridiculous. People are going to start to look at it as overvalued if they haven't already done so much. So somebody says, I'm dollar cost averaging on quantum stocks. Do you think quantum will be a big play in the coming years? Now, was it last year or earlier this year, there was a lot of advancements in quantum computing with the Google Willow chip, and it was a few others. I didn't think we would see any real movement in quantum computers to 2026. And that kind of shocked me that they finished it a little earlier, but it may have been a preemptive announcement just to get their names out there in the world of quantum computing. I don't think those chips are anywhere near where they need to be commercially viable. I think we still got another year and a half on that. Acquiring and dollar cost averaging quantum computing stocks is a good idea leading up to that. Now, quantum computing is not over. I believe that those announcements were early. And I said it, if you follow me, I said I didn't think we'd see any real movement to 26, maybe even 27 on quantum computers. And I was shocked that it happened so early. But as I dug deeper into these things, they're not commercially viable, what I mean by that is that people can't use them really in any type of systems. With AI has been around since 1956. It was a big movement in AI in 1980. There was another big one in the early 2010s, and we finally where we are today. Now, the biggest thing that happened in AI was with ChatGPT. It made it usable to the average person, and that's when we saw the explosion of AI. Now, before that, we didn't see the big explosions like we have seen in the last few years, and that's the same thing with quantum computers. Now, we can see advancements, but until we have a killer app like ChatGPT was, an app, what we call a killer app in tech is an app that makes everybody able to see the clear use case of this technology. Until we have some type of killer app, quantum computer will be stagnant or it will be slight growth. There won't be the major hype that came into AI over the last 3 years. Quantum computers need a killer app. They need something that the average walking around person can look at that and say, that's what quantum computer is. The average person on the street will tell you, they will say, what is AI? ChatGPT. They can say it. Until we have something like that for quantum computers will be stagnant. Even though the technology is amazing, there has to be something that the average man can say what it is. The average man can't say it now. They don't know. That means that there is no killer app for quantum computers yet. And until there is, there won't be any growth, major growth in the stock, in the stocks or the assets or whatever. But over time, you're making a good choice. Keep dollar cost averaging in, not financial advice. And eventually, yeah, you'll have a huge payoff. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. Don't know exactly. But one day you'll have a major payoff. So back to Palantir. It's already overvalued based on earnings. Nvidia still dominates the data center GPUs, which is Palantir is not involved in that. So Palantir is solid, but it's overvalued. Nvidia is dominant. Nvidia is cheaper based on earnings, and it's likely to be the first mover in this next AI wave that's coming. Another problem with Palantir also is that somebody talked about the contracts. Now, Palantir has a lot of contracts with the U.S. government, and that's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing short term. Long term, what those contracts do, you got to remember when you work for the U.S. government, and I'm making missiles, I'm making smart missiles, I'm making smart software to run tanks, I'm making smart software to run jets. Now, the U.S. government can't have you running around doing the same thing for China. They can't have you running around doing the same thing for Russia because those are their competitors. So when you sign these agreements, you're limited to the United States. So now you can't grow. You can short term, yeah, it looks great. Long term, you're going to miss that growth. Nvidia can sell whoever they want to except China, but they can sell to anybody else. Palantir had an epic run. Somebody just said that. Massive gains, short amount of time. It's still going to, it's never going to go down to the $6 where most people bought it at. You still made a ridiculous amount of money. You still will probably continue to make money with Palantir. But as a AI play going forward, Palantir is going to stall short term compared to other AI stocks. Long term, Palantir will still make you a lot of money. But it's just don't expect the type of gains that you've had in Palantir from $6 to now to continue on into the future because it's highly unlikely from this point on. So I want to talk a little bit about the U.S. market, what's going to come over the next 6 months, 7 months, maybe even a year. The U.S. is experiencing a weaker dollar right now when compared to other dollars, like, for example, the euro. That means that what's going to happen with U.S. stocks is that traditionally or historically what we've seen is that whenever the U.S. dollar becomes weak against the euro, it normally causes a cash inflow from European Union or Europe in general. We did see a lot of money leave the United States over the past, let's say, 8 or 9 months and go into the European market because it was reversed. The dollar was strengthening against the euro. But now that's starting to reverse. So it's highly likely we're going to see a lot of money flow back into U.S. stocks. And that will also help Nvidia, AMD, SoundHound, those stocks we've been talking about. When the U.S. dollar weakens, it makes U.S. assets cheaper for foreign investments and foreign investors. Stocks, real estate, and even bonds start to look cheaper when compared to their own market because our dollar is getting weaker. So think about it like this. If you're a European investor, right, and you see the dollar start to drop, now you can all of a sudden buy more U.S. assets, buy U.S. businesses, buy U.S. stocks, buy U.S. bonds, buy U.S.-based commodities. You can buy them a lot cheaper than with your own euros, right? Because to you, the prices are going down. Even though the companies could be, like let's say, for example, the companies could still be strong. But because you can now spend less euros to buy it, you can buy these companies a lot cheaper than you could have before. And then once it reverses back, you not only make money on the way up, like with Nvidia, for example. Let's say Nvidia is going up and I'm a European investor. I can look at that situation and say, I think Nvidia is going to go up. But I can compound those gains because I'm buying Nvidia for less euros in the first place because right now we're going through a weaker dollar, which may only be temporary because the Trump administration will probably make the dollar stronger over the next few years. So you can buy Nvidia right now for less money. Then when the price goes up and the euro start to strengthen, you've doubled your potential earnings. Not doubled, but you've exaggerated your potential earnings because you took advantage of both things that were happening. So a lot of European investors now see the U.S. stock market as on sale. Now, when we look at the stock market, we say it's on sale because there's a crash. But they look at it as no crash. It's just that the euros are getting stronger against the dollar. So they can now buy more U.S. assets for a lot cheaper. And that normally causes something that happened where a lot of European money starts to come into the market, a massive rotation of money starts to rotate from the European equities market back into the US market. Now, like I said, quarter four, quarter one of this year, the quarter four of last year, we saw the reverse happen. A lot of money left the US into European equities. But if the US tech starts to regain leadership with Nvidia, AI, under the Trump administration, we're going to start to see that reverse.